push-up bars is a very basic piece of equipment. A lot of people use it. Very often someone would look at a push-up bar and say, well, you know, if I can do push-ups on the floor, it's just an extra piece of equipment that no one needs. Push-up bar actually has certain advantages over push-ups, regular flat hand push-ups, and I'm going to talk to you about that right now. The first purpose of the push-up bars is actually to vary the position of the wrist. What happens very often, someone cannot do a flat hand push-up. Sometimes there's some kind of an issue with the wrist that someone actually cannot bend the wrist to 90 degrees, and sometimes you can bend it but it's painful. It happens very often that someone will do push-ups and then the next day the wrist will swell up. Okay, and usually the way out for those people is not to do the push-ups anymore. You know, that of course is one option. Then people try to substitute with dumbbell flies or any other type of exercise. Well, if you use the push-up bars correctly, you can actually do push-ups on a push-up bar and not feel that pain. Like I said before, it could be coming from problems with the joint itself, such as arthritis, compressed nerve, tendinitis, many other possible reasons why someone can't bend the wrist. Notice when you do a flat push-up, there's 90-degree bending at the wrist. Okay? Now, when you use a push-up bar, you're not really bending 90 degrees. The reason for that is the bar shouldn't be under here, the bar should be under the palm. Once the bar is under the palm, you can actually move the wrist a little bit. So it's not bent 90 degrees anymore, it's a little bit more open, and it's still under the palm of the hand. This way you don't have to bend the hand 90 degrees and you don't have to go through that pain, and you can do push-ups. So that's the first reason. Now, this is of course the push-up bar that is parallel to the floor. At the same time, we have push-up bar that looks like this. Okay. Now, the advantage of this push-up bar actually is the fact that if you have an injury on one side of the wrist and you want to elevate how much you flex in that side of the wrist, you can use a bar like this. So for instance, if I want to keep my wrist like this, I cannot flex the wrist this way. My injury is on this side, and every time I flex this way, this side gets painful. Okay, some people have that. So actually certain martial artists have it from constantly hitting, and boxers might have it, gymnasts might have it. So what happens here is I want to keep my wrist like this. I want to keep this angle open. If I use this type of push-up bar, I'm keeping this angle open. So I can do the push-ups keeping this open without having to flex it and avoiding this pain. On the other hand, if I have the pain on the other side, I would turn it around, okay, and I would have this open and not feel that pain. Of course, there might be an issue with the fact that the weight goes on this side in this position, but for a lot of people it's not about the weight, it's about the fact that they can't flex. So that's what some people use this bar for. There's another application and I'll demonstrate in a second. The second reason for using a push-up bar is range of motion. Okay, very often flat push-ups give you only certain range of motion, and you would approximately stop here once your chest is level to your hands. Okay, you can do push-ups on your fingertips to give you more range of motion. You can do push-ups on your fist to give you more range of motion. But if you want even more range of motion than that, and you can't bring the hand back anymore by yourself, you need a push-up bar, or you need a stack of books. If you're going to do the exercise on your fist, on your flat hand, or yoga blocks, you would need something to lift your hands off the floor to allow your chest to go forward of your hands. Okay, so push-up bars do that to you as well. Okay, so any type of push-up pretty much can get extra range of motion from push-up bar. Anything from flat push-up to hinder to dive bomber to feet on chair push-up to handstand push-up. Pretty much any type of push-up will gain from this. Okay, so regular push-up, for instance, if this would be the range of motion I would get with flat hands, I can get extra from here to here by using the push-up bar. So I'm getting extra range of motion that way. Now if you're going to do the, let's say, dive bomber push-up, and you would want more range of motion as well. For example, you want your head to clear the floor and go a little bit lower. So from here, you have more range of motion for your whole body to clear, coming down and coming back up. Okay? And the same thing would go for a push-up where your body is lower than your feet. Now, normally, once your body is on an incline, as you come down, your head comes down first. So once your head touches the floor, your body can't come down any lower. Even if your arms can come down lower, your body cannot come down any lower. So what you can do, what some people will do, is they would throw the head back, or they would lower the hips, make the body flat, parallel to the floor, and then come down that way. Well, then you're taking away the benefits from the fact that you want to push up a little bit, and you want your body to be a little bit higher, and this way the pressure is a little bit more on your upper chest and on your body in general. Okay, so if you were doing the push-ups this way, okay, once again, what some people would do is just get into this position and do push-ups like this, but then you're not really benefiting. So if you here was your hips and your legs higher, of course you would only come down to here and up. But once you have the push-up bars, you can come down lower and then come up. And of course the same thing would happen for handstand push-up, where your hands would only come up to here. With the push-up bars, they can come down lower. Usually if you're going to do the handstand push-ups, you would not use the push-up bars, you would use the parallettes, which are a little bit longer, and in some cases even higher. This way there's more stability. Now, speaking of stability, it's very important to have stability for the push-up bars as well. It doesn't happen often that somebody gets hurt, but it does happen. So especially if you have clients, you do not want them to get hurt, and you have them doing push-ups on something like this, and they favoring one side over the other, or something happens and they go over, they could injure themselves this way. Okay, some people know how to fall very quickly, and they're not going to injure themselves, but some people will. So it's very important to have a good base of support for the push-up bar. So for instance, you could see that this one is longer and lower. So the fact that it's wider and lower gives it more base of support. Very difficult for this one to trip over, but this one, because it's higher and narrower, it's easier to trip over. Okay, and the last point is about the width. Okay, the width of the bar. This bar is narrow. Okay, this bar is a little bit wider. This bar also has thicker padding. This one has thinner padding. So if I'm like this, I feel this going into my hand more than this one. And if you're going to do many push-ups, this one may actually hurt the hand, while this one will not hurt it as much. And the last point about this bars over here is, if you're going to do certain type of push-ups where you want to work one muscle over the other, for instance, if you're going to bring your arms a little bit forward or your arms a little bit back, if you have a flat push-up bar like this, you will begin, if you bring your arms slower, like let's say pseudo planche push-up, you will notice that you will let go of the pinky finger and there's going to be more pressure over here. Okay. However, if you use a bar like this, you're not going to have that issue. And the same thing if you bring your arms forward toward your head. Once you bring your arms forward, you have more pressure this way, but if you use a bar like this, you're not going to have that situation. Okay, so the implication here is, bring the arms a little bit closer towards the head. You would have this angle to do the push-ups. Okay, and that is, instead of having your hands under your shoulders, if you bring your arms the other way, like pseudo planche push-ups, here you turn it the other way, and this way it's easier on your wrist as well. Now again, notice that if you're looking to do a full planche or planche, some people call it, you would now still do it on this, because that's what you're going to use when you actually do the full movement. But if you're just doing it more for the shoulder, front of the shoulder strength, then you can use something like this, and it becomes easier on your wrist and more comfortable.